Welcome to the GameChanger 00100 show. I'm your host, GameChanger. You know what it is. You know what it do. You know what to do, and that's hit that like button. So I greatly appreciate you. All right. So for this episode, I have Sweet Melody Speaks on here. It's been a while. How are you doing, love?
Hi, I'm doing okay. How are you?
I'm doing as good as can be considering that I just seen. Not only did I see a ridiculous movie that I vowed not to, but it was the BL, so they didn't get any of my money. Oh,
Okay.
by the way, if you want to see the BL of this movie, let me know. But don't give them your money. You know, the movie flopped after the second week, and I wanted to continue to flop. I want to leave a message to makers of movies like this. And that message is never again.
hmm
Never again should you make something like this. Every time you make something like this, it will flop. Yes, you're going to get, some fin flapping from the Amazon bees here in the U.S. You're definitely going to get that. That's unavoidable. There's always like, I don't know, maybe like a million or so chicks out there just waiting to cheer on anything that seems or that reeks of masculine empowerment.
hmm
You're going to attract that crowd. But the rest of the world, where men are men and women are women, yeah, have no business giving them their money. But it is my business to watch it so y'all don't have to. And that's what I did. Seen it twice. Melody says she's seen it once. She actually seen it in a movie theater, but she was
It was
dragged
a
there.
waste of money. Yes, I was dragged there.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So, unfortunate but true. I seen something else that was almost as disturbing as the entirety of that movie. I have to say that.
Oh,
It's
wow.
oh, actually, let me share the screen, and I definitely want to get your take on this. I don't think that you've seen this yet, but definitely want to get your take on it. Hit that like button. All right. So this is a special from the Smithsonian Channel. Apparently, years before this movie came out, about 3 years ago, they covered this Dahomey stuff. They covered the Dahomey tribe in a very interesting way. And it really shows the underlying intentions about both this and the movie. So stay tuned. Fair use. Take a watch.
The all-female Agoji are the palace guards and crack frontline troops of the king of Dahomey.
Right there. Right there. Crack frontline troops. Oh my God.
Front line. Black women
Yeah,
are always on the front line of something. We know that for sure.
but okay. As far as I know, the Dahomies weren't really on the front line. But if they were, is that something to be proud of?
Not at all.
Like the front line, especially in musket combat, like when ever notice how like the king and the generals are in the back, like the more important people are in the back. Even when you play chess, the king and the queen is in the back. You know who's in front? You know who's in the front line of a chessboard? The pawns. They're basically saying that you are the pawns, and they think they were the crack front line. This is how stupid they are. They think that there's some type of honor in this crap. All right. See, I get riled up. I'm only 7 seconds in. Oh, by the way, look at how ugly these chicks are.
And
It's too early in the
masculine.
show. Yeah, exactly. Like whoever filmed this 3 minute video, they went to wherever the fuck they just went to some actress guild and said, "Give me your ugliest bees. Give me the ugliest chibs you have. Give us your fat, your homely, your dihomey, because that is what they got here." And I've seen the whole thing. This is a whole lineup.
And they all look like that.
Exactly. No, some look worse. Some look worse. You know things are bad, Melody. When and you're about to see. I'm not making this up. This one here in the gray, that's the hot one.
Wow.
Watch when I play some more. This is the hot one.
Homie. As
See?
Oh, they just get
What?
fatter.
Yes. Yes, day homely. They are day homely. Oh God.
God.
Why she got a fanny pack on? Like she's from either Jersey or this is the 1980s. Like, why she got a fanny pack on though? To top everything else off, oh crap. She has like a 19 or excuse me, an 1820 fanny pack on.
I like fanny packs, I guess, because I'm from
Yeah.
Jersey.
they are also the king's law enforcers and tax collectors.
What the hell was that? Did y'all see that?
Hmm.
Once again, let me show you.
Crack frontline troops of the king of Dahomey. As
Those are the dirty foots that people be talking about.
feared warriors, they are also the king's law enforcers and tax collectors.
Wow.
What was that? Ever notice how if they were to do a remake or a reenactment of a male tribe, like the rest of the world, the tribe of male warriors, they never just show them pushing women around.
No.
And she kind of went out of her way to do it. Like he was nowhere near the line, and she just kind of like eased over there and pushed him out the way just to show dominance of some strange sort.
Yeah.
That was just weird. But they don't like when they did the Battle of Thermopylae or the movie 300, they didn't show Leonidas going out of his way to just shove a chick out the way. Like it wasn't like that. He didn't just go ludicrous on women randomly. Like move, chick, get out the way, chick, get out the way. He didn't do that. But for whatever reason, they feel empowered by showing this this is one ugly chick.
Yeah.
And
Where,
they
where
and
their
they
hair? They don't have any hair.
no, they don't. Because hair gets in the way of fighting.
Hmm.
That's why the Marines cut their hair.
Collectors. Men had to be extremely careful in the presence of.
Look at that crap. It's cringe. It's cringe.
Wow.
Now, men had to be extremely careful in the this dude is on his knees with his head down. Like, really? They have to do these are basic foot soldiers. These are basic foot soldiers at best. This is 3 years ago. This is way before the movie even came out. These are basic foot soldiers, and they were a very small part of the overall Dahomey army. They were. So why would he have to kneel for the female soldiers when he could very, very well be a male soldier himself?
Right. They weren't
And
allowed to look them.
why do the women look like him?
Exactly. But they weren't even able to look him in the eye, which is the crazy part.
Well, no, that's the movie. That's the movie. We're gonna get into that. That's the movie.
Okay.
This documentary, he not only could not look them in the eye, he has to kneel down and bow his head.
Of these women. Every 3 years, the king demands a tribute, a young girl from each village chief to serve in the palace.
Now, another,
Is that a little girl or boy?
it doesn't really matter to them apparently because they treat them both the same, right?
Yeah.
Like they send them both off to fight and die, so it doesn't really matter. But that almost looked like a titty. That man, yeah. Anyway. This one right here is off rhythm.
What? I'm gonna watch it now.
See, like notice how everybody else is clapping,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like a half second behind the rest of. Oh, these are all ugly chicks. This is a genetically unfortunate group of chibs if I ever seen it.
I see not one beautiful woman there. That's crazy.
Yes. Because Melody, you got to understand, these are the unwifeable women of the Dahomey tribe. Basically, if you can't cook, clean, or parent or reproduce, and we have those in every society, they sent you off to the military to die on the front line to a
Mhm.
French musket. And now, and look at you clapping off beat.
The king has good reason to recruit new soldiers.
Look at this one.
The small kingdom
Look
has
at
found
this.
itself
Oh my
at the
God.
Oh,
center.
Lizzo.
Oh my God. Look at this one. Holy crap. Okay. Okay. You know what that reminds me of? Hold on. Hold on. Let me show y'all what that reminds me of.
Uh-oh. I don't even want to know.
Well, you probably don't know this because, as far as I know, you're not a nerd. But hold on. Let me see if I can find a better picture. All right, that's the best one I'm gonna find. I'm not gonna search through the internet looking for it. It reminds me of this. Now, you may ask yourself, those of you who are not in the know, those of you who watch more football than Star Wars, don't know what this is. This is a Gamorrean guard. Basically, these are the guards of people like Jabba the Hutt. Yes, if you live in the Outer Rim and you're wealthy and you need a guard that's too slow to fight and not really quick on the draw, not very bright, not very athletic, he can't stick and move because he's too big to stick or move, but he's cheap. This is what you hired. They are called the Gamorrean guards. When Luke Skywalker was chopping through people, they did nothing. I repeat, they did absolutely nothing. Now, take one more look at a Gamorrean guard. Take a look at the Gamorrean guards, right? Right here, right here.
That's scary.
Now, look at that. Look at that. Holding the machete. Hold on, hold on. Holding the axe.
Oh my God.
They are Gamorrean guards. Look at them. Look at them. Wearing, animal skin attire. Wearing, primitive animal skin attire, even though everybody else got spaceships.
Mm-hmm.
Wearing primitive attire.
Wow, that's a great comparison.
Stupid helmet. Stupid hat. Really fat. Really fat. These are the Gamorrean guards of Africa. Oh my God. That is where George Lucas got his idea from for the Gamorrean guards. He got it from the Dahomey Pictures of Home. Holy crap. And they're women. Personally, I don't even know if the Gamorreans are women, but like, oh crap. This is awful.
Worldwide power grab.
Oh, look at her face.
Yeah.
It was the beginning of what Europeans would call the scramble for Africa. At the Berlin
Look at the optics of this.
A whole bunch of mammies.
Look at the look on his face. Why is he looking so stringent? That man looks stringent. He looks stringent. Oh, by the way, I told you she was the hottest one. She's not hot, but she is still the hottest one here. And people wonder, people say stuff like, hey, passport bros, how come y'all don't go to Africa? This is why. This is why. Every time y'all show Africa some crap like this, this is what who wants to be surrounded by the descendants and offsprings of something like this? This is something terrible. Look at it. Look at the look on his face. Why is she on her knees? Why are these chicks sitting down on the ground?
Barefoot.
All right. Don't say nothing. I'm going to just say what I'm thinking. This portion here looks like an episode of The Breakdown. Okay. So let me continue.
Conference of 1884, European powers divided up the continent among themselves. Surrounded by European controlled protectorates, Dahomey is still unclaimed. France in particular wants to grab its all-important coastline.
Okay. It's way more complicated than just a group of white guys sitting down and deciding to divide Africa. I'm not even going to get into maybe a different episode, but yeah.
France's ambassador to the kingdom is Jean-Marie Bayot, the former governor of Senegal and French Guinea. He wants to take control of Dahomey's rich natural resources. But before he can meet with Dahomey's king, Ambassador Bayot has been invited to a special ceremony with the infamous Agoji warriors.
Who this woman? Now, I want you to notice something, Melody.
Mm-hmm.
Well, first of all, do you see are you noticing what I'm noticing? Tell me what you notice about this woman here.
She looks topless. She's on her knee. She's on her knees. Her hair is everywhere. I don't know.
Well, yeah, you got it. She has hair.
Right.
And she's made to kneel to her betters. You see, in this backwards ass part of the world and time, the more womanly you are, the lower you were amongst these chicks. Like, oh, you have hair? You must kneel. You must kneel. You must kneel at the defeat of the Dahomey because you have hair. How dare you have hair? You're supposed to, if you had an Angel Mima scarf, you would be able to sit.
Just like reality, just like now.
You are not fat enough to sit with the two of these chicks. These women here are pre-fat. One day they will be fat enough to sit in the presence of a white. And of course, these grand warriors, of course, they have to show dominance. The whole theme of the new movie is women showing dominance over men. So they had the guy kneeling earlier. They had the other guy get shoved. So every black man is either kneeling, shoved, or in a basket for whatever strange reason. Yeah. Oh, she is grand. She is grand poopa of fat.
Yeah.
She's both fat and old. She is from Dahomey, Mississippi. Oh, Lord.
Nansika has been singled out as having great potential.
Oh my
that one looks like a man.
Yeah. And that's what they mean when they say she has great potential. When they say, you know how, well, you don't know how, but like to determine a Jedi's potential, they count their midichlorian. Like to determine an Agogi's potential, they just count her ugliness.
It's time for her to prove her mettle.
Holy crap.
What is about to happen?
Something Dahomey. This is for Dahomey.
The prisoner has been drugged. The king's wife, Obaseki, gives him a secret message from the king to pass on to his long dead ancestors.
They are making this crap up.
She's gonna. Oh,
Look at the look on his face.
The Agoji warriors have delivered a powerful message.
What message did they deliver? He's like, that's just some that is
Bale's
just some
war stories capture the imagination of the
it doesn't capture the imagination. They just look at you like you a damn fool.
wait, did she just rub blood on her hand?
Yeah.
On her arm?
It sent a powerful message, and the message is you're a fool. You're a fool and an idiot that don't value human lives. Obviously, we value human lives. That's why we buy them. You're an idiot. That's what he's thinking right now.
French.
Ew.
Creating the
What
legend
was
of
that?
Africa's ferocious women.
She licked it right off her arm.
Yeah. So that happened. That actually happened.
Hmm.
All right. So now on to the movie. Well, first of all, what did you think of that?
I thought it was disgusting, especially the blood thing. Also, those women look like straight out men. So,
Yeah.
yeah,
And ugly men at that.
ugly men, masculine men. And
Yeah.
another question I have for you is why not just get men to fight instead of getting women?
Well, they did have men fight. Um, in the real Dahomey army, they did have men fight. They were less than like 10% most of the time. Like it fluctuated, but I think the most they ever were like 30%. But it was a mostly man army. That was just a way to get rid of the chicks.
Right.
That they had a bunch of unmarriageable women.
Makes sense.
So, all right. So, on to the movie. Now, the first scene. The first scene shows the women creeping in the grass. And then Viola Davis or no, and then some guys they hear some animal sounds and they get ready, because they know something is about to happen. And then Viola Davis stands up, and then all the other guys stand up, or all the other chicks. Why I call them guys? All the other chicks stand up. Now, I gotta ask after that, hit the like button. I gotta ask after that, what was the purpose of that? Like, what was the purpose of crawling and creeping in the grass to sneak up on them and not sneak up on them? Like, I get why people, crawl through the grass and the ground and stuff like that. I get why they do that.
Right.
And that's to sneak up on your enemy. But they didn't sneak up. They just kind of got there. And then when they were, 20 feet away, they just said, okay, we're here. And then they stood there and, and waited for the people to get ready. Oh, before they did that, they said, ooh, ooh.
Yeah.
And then they, yeah, you seen that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw it too. I was wondering the same thing. Like, what's going on here?
Exactly. And then, they went and slaughtered the village and rescued the slaves, but then re-enslaved the slaves that were not theirs.
That is also what got me.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. They in real life they were a brutal slavers. They were brutal slavers. In fact, they gained power from the slave trade. There was a nothing tribe before that, but once the slave trade happened, they seen it as an opportunity to gain power. So that happened. And then they shift the movie to a young girl. A young girl who, uh, I guess she's the cute one of the tribe, and she was supposed to be like the female lead, second to Viola Davis. And her job, her role in the movie was to make it appear sweet and innocent. Like, oh, this is such a sweet and innocent. Oh, they're so sweet and so sweet and so sweet. These are not regular women, or these are regular women. They're just like you and I. No, they're not just like you and I, because regular women are you and Melody, because regular Melanie is not out, crawling through the grass with a machete in her hand.
Yeah, no. Not in our nature to be doing that.
So they're not acting according to nature. But they needed a spokeswoman, or they wanted somebody to be the face of the Dahomey. So this young girl, she was meant to be the face of the Dahomey. And then, they just took a script from Color Purple, and then they showed her being forced into marriage. So what they said was, this is your husband. Out of nowhere, no wedding ceremony, no marriage, no nothing. Just, this is your husband. Because they wanted to put marriage in the worst light possible. They wanted to make marriage look horrible. So they created a culture where marriage is the worst case scenario, and that is, you marry somebody that you don't see, and for whatever reason, he says you have to work. And apparently, because I've seen the BL, but you hear the people in the background, apparently this was an unattractive guy. One of the girls said, I hope he's handsome. And then they showed him, and the way they reacted was like he wasn't a handsome dude. So, like, how did the theater act when you seen it?
Well, everybody was just quiet and in shock, like the way they're trying to portray things. And the guy was an older, it wasn't like he was very unattractive, but he was not that attractive. But when she looked at him, she just had like this disgusted look on her face. So the theater didn't really react anyway.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, it was just like, oh, okay. And then something and this is where the movie started getting stupid. And then it continued this course of stupidity indefinitely. This is where the movie started getting stupid. And that was when he said to her, I own a palm, and I'm going to get into this whole palm oil thing. I own a palm oil field that's such and such big. And you're going to work. You're going to work.
Mm-hmm. And then he hit her, right?
Yeah, exactly. Because like I said, they want to paint it in the worst possible light. But I'm thinking, like, you live in a country full of slaves. Why are you marrying somebody to get them to work? So you pay a man for a wife, not a slave, just so you could treat your wife like a slave, when you could just buy a slave.
Right. Made no sense.
It didn't. It make no sense. I mean, maybe something I don't. Could you make sense of that? Like,
I couldn't make sense of it, and I don't understand why the guy was acting how he acted when he saw her.
They want to say that this is what marriage was. These were the men that they had to pick from, so that's why they were warrior bitches,
Exactly.
Because that's what black men do. We walk up to a chick and say, "You must work. Don't look at me like that." Like that's exactly what we do. So every bizarre behavior that we see from the B-dub is justified because we walk around saying you must work and then smacking them. Now, the whole arrangement, the whole marriage, so to speak, did not make sense because one of the key things was he didn't see her either. She never seen him before, which means because they didn't have cameras back then, that he never seen her before. So he is marrying a chick that he never seen. He is paying top dollar or whatever, top seashell for a chick that he's never seen.
Well, maybe he knew she was young, so he pretty much didn't care what she looked like. He probably just wanted a young woman.
Why did he want a young woman?
Because same reason why men want young women now.
What reason is that,
Youth,
Melody?
youth, beauty, and all that other stuff.
Wait a minute. Either you're not making sense or they're not making sense, because according to this movie, men want youth and beauty so they can make them work the palm fields.
Yeah, that's what I didn't get. That's what
Okay.
didn't make sense.
Oh, okay. So it's the movie that didn't make sense, because
Exactly.
men don't say, I want a young, beautiful wife so I can make her work the palm field. Especially considering I have people working the palm field already. There's slaves everywhere. It's
Right.
weird.
Right. He was supposed to have her to do wife duties and to make babies.
Exactly. Now, I can see if he had her do both, but why are you leading with the whole you must work? Like, even if he wanted wife duties, why would you lead? Why do you just introduce yourself? You will do wife duties. Like, but
right.
yeah.
You must work.
Yeah, so they tried to give like the best case scenario for the Dahomies. You just walk around and all the village people can't look you in the face. They have to bow their heads, because you walk around. They put the Dahomey women in the best light, and they put marriage in the worst possible light. This is going to be a theme throughout the movie. Hit the like button.
This had to be written and produced by Sisterhood. Had to be.
It was, but it was written and directed by a white woman. Now, I want to tell you this, Melody.
Hmm?
White women actually have their own Dahomies.
Do that.
Yes. I think her name was Brescia or something like that. Look it up for me, chat room. But I think her name was Brescia or something like that. But there was a woman who went on to defend England or Britannia from Roman invaders. And she actually did very well.
Mhm.
But they never made a movie about her. And that's because white women are careful not to put themselves in a masculine light.
You did
They're
a show
quick.
on that before.
Hmm?
You did a show on that before, how like they make other races of women like the love interest in movies, and like black women, they always want to fight and just play masculine roles. Remember?
Exactly. And that's because black women are the only ones stupid enough to support movies like that.
Exactly.
White women don't want to be seen like that. Their movies consist of, oh, she's the meanest girl in high school because she's blonde and she's pretty and she's a mean girl. She's such a mean girl. Or she's clueless, but she's pretty. Or there's something about her. There's something about Mary. Or they do rom-coms or something like that. Or they're my best friend's wedding or something. They always do stuff like that. And even Wonder Woman, which is supposed to be the fictitious, white woman equivalent to this, is still way hotter.
Yeah. She's not manly looking at all. That's
Yeah.
the thing.
And they didn't have a bunch of men just having to bow their head in the presence of them.
Yeah. They love
So
to keep this strong black woman thing rolling.
exactly. And y'all fall for it like a damn fool.
Yep.
Y'all fell for that like a damn fool. Viola Davis was upset because the first day didn't make money. And she's like, no, we need more movies like this. We need your support. It's like, you want to support this crap? They made y'all look like fools. And it's going to get worse because I am going to continue with it. All right. So you have that. And then what does the father do? Now, maybe you can explain me this, Melody, because I don't get it.
Mhm.
So the father delivers her to the king to be the quote unquote king's wife.
Right.
Now, why didn't he sell her into slavery?
That was a good question. I don't know. Instead, you know, he sent her off to fight.
Yeah. So is it because this movie makes no damn sense? Because think about it. You live in a country where they sell humans, but you're not selling your human, your daughter, your unmarriageable daughter. You're not selling her, but you are giving her away to the kings.
Right. So
So
you're
that was weird. Yeah,
yeah, it was a lot of like, huh, moments in this movie. Like,
exactly. Because it was poorly written. You see, this movie wasn't meant to be good, Melody. This movie was really meant more to be like, it's meant to just have women shown as dominating men. That was the purpose. That was the function of this movie. The crowd cheers every time a woman machetes a man,
yeah,
or every time a woman shoves a man, or make him kneel, or something like that. It was really just meant for imagery like that,
yeah,
because it is so many things. And I'm going to point them out. You know, it's so many things that didn't make sense. First of all, why would he give her to the homies when slavery was a thing there? He could have just sold her into slavery and got
exactly.
money,
And
because obviously she didn't make money off the dowry, which was your initial intention to put her off that way.
right. And she didn't even look like she belonged. If that's what the woman really looked like, she didn't even look like she belonged with the homie.
Well, no, that's the point. See, she's supposed to be the face of it. You know how you have a group of unattractive girls and then they get the prettiest ones. Um, they get the prettiest ones to speak for the group or to be shown for the group. Like
Mhm.
like I'm not gonna name it, but there is like a motorcycle club full of, oh, I'm be honest. And I don't want to hear from clubs. I don't want outlaws and Hell's Angels and shit like that coming at me, you know. But y'all have some ugly chicks. Y'all be having some ugly, ugly chicks on the back of y'all motorcycle all the time.
Mhm.
But when they recruit, they probably put the prettiest one forward in order to, make it look like more palatable. But fortunately, before the tribe ended, the French invented the camera. And so we do have pictures of what they look like, of what the actual chicks look like. And hold on. Why is it doing that? Okay. Ah, damn it. So it's one of those sites where they try to sell you stuff, but I just want to see the picture. Let me see if I can get a clear picture. Here we go. All right. So, um, first of all, Dane C says, GC and Melody salute. Melody, where you been lately?
Hey, Dave. I just been, well, lately, the past week, I've been sick, but yeah, I just been giving YouTube a break, but I'll be back soon.
So, look at these chicks. Look at them. Now, I'm not going to talk about their looks. What I am going to do is talk about their age.
Yes, like old women.
And not just like medium old, they are old, old.
Yeah.
Look at these. Look at these ones here. So slightly younger. I think, oh, well, these two are dudes, which is weird.
Are they,
Yeah.
or are they women who look like dudes?
Could be.
Right.
But nevertheless, they're not hot. And they're not hot for a reason. And the reason is the Dahomey tribe is where they sin. They're not hots. They're infertiles. They're, because the greatest contribution a woman can contribute, the greatest thing a woman can contribute to a society is her womb. It's not her skills with a machete or any crap like that. The greatest thing she can offer to society is keeping the society going, is the immortality of society through giving birth. If you are put in the front line to not give birth and die, it's because that particular aspect of your womaninity, get the lights up, is worthless. And that is why you wind up on pictures like this.
But JC, let me ask you a question. Even though they look 70, back then they probably were only like 30 or 20,
Oh, good point.
right?
That's a good point. I don't know how the old timey Africans aged. I really don't.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this is I don't know, a crew or something. This is Anyway, that's what they were. Oh, let me stop sharing. All right, so the Dahomey take her in, and they begin the process of training her. I guess, right? They show her around and show her everything, all the sights to see in their beautiful palace, right? And they say that only women and eunuchs are allowed there after dark. Only the Dahomey, the wives, and eunuchs are allowed there after dark. So they had to show some very effeminate men there.
Oh, yeah. I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
One of them were actually GA.
Well, I don't know. I mean, because eunuch means that they cut off your penis.
I thought you said feminine men.
Well, yeah. I mean, once your penis is gone, I think that you don't get the testosterone pumped into your soul from the balls. So, and since they didn't have replacements and stuff like that,
Right.
they probably became effeminate.
Yeah, because that one, he was very feminine.
Yeah, exactly. So took her around, showed her showed her the ropes. And then after doing that, something very interesting happened. They lined up all the girls, and then they told them that you will not marry or bear children ever. That's the rules. You won't be able to do this. You won't be able to do that. You won't be able to eat a Klondike bar, like nothing. They, but there's some type of glory in being Dahomey. So after that spiel, they said, if you want to leave, you can do so now. Now, help me understand this, Melody, because I'm not the sharpest spoon in the cereal, but let me see if I understand this. The father took her to the Dahomeys, knowing that she can leave at any time.
Mm-hmm.
Then what was the point in taking her?
That's the part I couldn't understand either. The whole movie was kind of hard to comprehend. I'm not even gonna lie.
Yeah, because it was written like crap. So it's like, I sentence you. I'm going to give you to the king. And if you decide to stay, then that's good. You can stay. But if you decide, so basically the decision is hers. So why did you bring her anywhere?
Or
Why didn't
maybe,
you just like kick her out your home and have her figure it out?
right, or maybe the father didn't know what went on inside of there
Well,
and sent her off.
he's of an age where he should know when somebody is that it's a volunteer dehomie. Like he should be of age to know that it's a volunteer army for both men and women.
Right.
But he didn't know that. And the reason why, Melody, is because in real life it wasn't volunteer. I mean, sure you had volunteers, but for the most part, these were women that were forced into it. They were forced into it. They were slaves that nobody wanted to buy. That's why when you see them and they look like they're 70 years old, that's what happens with like who wants a 70-year-old female slave that can barely stir a pot of gumbo? Like,
Mhm.
who wants that?
I guess
Oh, the Dahomey does.
right. I guess whoever wrote it wanted to throw in that women's choice thing. Like, oh, women have the choice to do what they want.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And also make it appear as if they're choosing it for glory. And then later, the little girl said, or the young woman said, why didn't you do that? Because I don't want to be married.
Hmm.
So they're trying to make it seem like women are choosing this over marriage. And like you say, it's an empowerment thing.
Right.
It's supposed to be an empowerment thing.
Right.
So, they didn't stay. So somebody said King provides food as well. Well, you know who else provides food? Husbands.
Oh, right.
Husbands. And you don't have to wield a machete against muscle bound men and Frenchmen and stuff like that in order to eat.
Hmm.
So yeah, it's not that type of party. If you are there, it's because you don't have a husband. You're either a slave or it was in law that your husband had the right to send you there. Now, it doesn't make sense for him to send you there if you could send yourself back. It does not. So they're making that up as well. We're just like in the first three scenes of the movie, and already it's just so poorly written.
It was pretty bad.
Yeah,
Um, and they said it to her, and she was like, I would rather, be a warrior and fight than have than have a husband. And I was like, oh my God, like you rather fight than
yeah,
be married?
exactly. Well, they want to make it like woman's choice, but they didn't choose that. The women who couldn't get married had to fight. Is essentially what happened. Okay,
So
so go for it.
no, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So Dane C says, I think The Woman King is a decent movie if it was made up. Then it would have avoided historical scrutiny. Let's see. If it had cost 25 mil, it would have made a profit. Yeah. But I think I've seen somewhere where they say they have to make like 125 mil to make a profit. Like it costs 50 mil to make, but like with advertising and everything, like it came out that much. But yeah, so apparently they're predicted to lose money off of it. But even okay, historical inaccuracies aside, I wouldn't say that it was a good movie. And I would say that even if it were men, even if you take away all the misandry and all the crap and all this whole, false sense of empowerment, all that crap, I would still say that it would be a poorly written movie for the simple fact that it's very predictable. Like
Right.
it would have been a decent movie in the 80s or something. But this whole obvious good guy, bad guy scenario where it's pretty cut and dry, it's pretty black and white, like who's the good guy, who's the bad guy. That's played. Like now a movie needs a better dynamic. They need a more defined villain in order to be a good movie, like Magneto, like Killmonger, for example. They need a more, it's like, okay, it's obvious that he's supposed to be the bad guy in the movie, but you can still kind of get it. You can still kind of get him. You see, they don't have that. They're on that 80s, you have He-Man, you have Skeletor, you have G.I. Joe, you have Cobra Commander, like the bad guys are just bad because they're bad. That was what this movie was. Pretty generic. It's not my kind of movie, even if you take away all the crap.
Yeah, it was very generic. And I would give it probably a 4 out of 10. Only because of the way it made Black women look. Even though we already look bad, this didn't make it any better. So, yeah, I'll probably give it a 4.
Yeah, it's pretty bad.
Below average.
And this is encouraging. This is encouraging Black women to be worse than they already are, which is pretty damn bad. So, yeah.
Exactly.
And it's in English. Like, so it's really made for Black American women. Or Black British women or whatever. Black English speaking women. So after given that strange choice, she chose to never get married and stay with the Dahomey. So for whatever reason, and this is another bizarre thing, a newly minted private got to bathe with the, chief general of all the female Dahomies, it looks like. I'm like, wait a minute, that's odd. Like, I mean, you're brand new, you're a recruit, but you get to kick it with like the higher ups like that, just directly. That's new,
Right, that was another moment. It didn't make sense.
Yeah,
I'm with you on that.
And then she came off as unyielding to authority. Just that whole nobody could tell me what to do thing, even though you're in a military force where people are to tell you what to do. Like everybody who's been in the military, that's what they do. They do what they're told. There's a chain of command that you must follow and that you must submit to. But they never really showed the young chick in a submissive position, even when she is supposed to be in the presence of her military superior.
At all.
So, go for it.
I was going to say, and the punishment wasn't as severe as it would have been back then. Like, she would have really been punished badly, but it's like there was no consequences for her.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you can argue that being a Dahomey is already the punishment.
Yeah, true.
Like, she's already been punished. Like, she being told that you can never have children and you can never have a husband or anything. You basically can never have a family. Should be a punishment.
Exactly.
Which brings me to another part. So she then brought up, because the general noticed that she was flirting with the male soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
She said, that type of stuff is forbidden. Why? Why is it forbidden?
Yeah. Didn't they say because falling in love was a weakness? Remember they said that?
But the men can fall in love.
True.
See, here's the thing. They say that because that's the message that they want to give to society. They want Black women to be incapable of loving. So you're going to have the hope is that you get a whole new crop of these Dahomey-minded chicks who are adverse to love because they feel that love is a weakness. If you see, if you see my show yesterday, they talk about how love makes you vulnerable to a man and he could take advantage of you. So they're just reinforcing that belief system right there.
Mm-hmm.
But no, the reason why historically the Dahomey didn't marry is because they were unmarriageable. Nobody wanted to marry them.
Yeah, they were not feminine at all. And if you notice, the wives were all gorgeous. Did you see that?
Yes, I did. I did. Oh, and we definitely going to get into the wives because
Right.
there was a whole bunch of, well, I know that King is getting into them wives. Yeah.
Right.
But there was a whole bunch of shade, unnecessary shade between the Chief Dahomey chick and the wives. There was
Yeah,
a whole bunch of unnecessary shade going on there.
I saw that.
Yeah. So where was I? Where was I? Let me think.
We were talking about her not being submissive and all of that. The young girl.
Yeah. And she didn't and she refused to marry.
Right.
She refused to marry, but no, it was something else. Oh, she was still flirting. So, and that goes to show something else. So obviously she has a desire for a man, penis, all that good stuff. So they're trying to write her character as somebody who wants glory more than penis and more than the natural urges of a woman. And they want to feminize the homie chicks. They want to make them seem like regular women with regular urges and regular, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
So, you know, like they flirt with men just like every other woman, et cetera. No, yeah, no. When you sign up to go around macheting people so you don't have to obey your husband, but you obey, you know, old ugly bitches that tell you to crawl through a thorn bush, you know, that's not normal.
No,
That is not normal at all.
it's really not. And she was fighting it. Like she was falling in love with this guy, but she was just fighting it.
Oh no, we're gonna get to the, you know, falling in love part. We're definitely going to cover that. Yeah.
Okay,
But
sorry.
no, even before that, she was falling for some of the soldiers. The Viola Davis said it, like she fell for some of the soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
She was flirting with some of the soldiers. Nobody wanted to flirt with a Dahomey chick. If somebody found her attractive enough to flirt with, then eventually somebody would have found her attractive enough to marry, and you know her temperament would have been good enough to marry. So you know, she wouldn't be in that Dahomey situation. They are really trying to push the fact that are trying to push this as a choice thing. This was not a choice thing. They made slaves do it. The Dahomeys would capture women and girls from other tribes. And if they, okay, now think about what that means. Think about how homely and unattractive you are if you find yourself in this situation. So the Dahomey comes, raids your village, and captures you as a slave, as a young girl. And they say to you, you are too ugly to be a sex slave to a Dahomey man. If we attempt to sell you to the Europeans, they will not buy you because you are too damn ugly. The only place for you is here. You are unsellable as a slave, is essentially what they're saying.
Yeah, they are. No man wants a man. No man wants a woman who looks like them. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
It's just not happening.
Exactly. So, well, if you're American and you're from the South, yeah. All right. But that's another story. Anyway, so yeah, that scene happens. And that's just the writer trying to make her seem like a regular woman. Let me see what else. Okay, and then they do the trial. It looks like they only did it for a week. They try to show some like female bonding. So now this is interesting because men bond over stuff like brothers in arms and warfare and stuff like that. Women tend to bond in comfort. You know, like they bond when they get together and have a mani pedi or something like that. You know, they're bonding like they Saving Ryan's Private, or excuse me, Saving Private Ryan. You know, so it's a different kind of bond. They're trying to create this band of brother crap amongst the women, and it doesn't really connect with female nature. It doesn't.
No,
You
I
know,
think
bonded in hardship. Go for it.
yeah, I think they were bonding because they were all single, ugly, poor, and couldn't get a man.
Oh, like the sisterhood in America.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, they bond together and then they get together around a pot of chitlins and say, "Mm-hmm, girl, child,
Chitlins.
you know what Leroy did to me? Nah, girl, what'd he do to you? Oh, girl, I seen Leroy looking at a white woman, and then he had the nerve to lick his lips. So you know what I did? What you do? I threw a pot of hot grits on him,
Hot breath. Oh my God. Didn't like one of
and
the
then they
old
go
school
watch,
people get
and then they
grits?
go watch Medea or some crap like that.
Yeah. Didn't somebody actually get grits thrown on them before?
Al Green, yeah,
Al Green. There you go. Al Green. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, that's what they do. That's the type of bonding they do. So
Exactly.
yeah, there was a lot of that going on, and yeah, so there was a scene there where they go to chop off the mannequin's head, something like that, and she put gunpowder in the thing and it exploded, and they said, "How did you do that?" It was like you don't need a gun to use gunpowder. You just need an explosion. So, or you just need a spark. So, here's what that tells me. That tells me at this particular place and time and tribe, they had an abundance of gunpowder. They had
I,
an abundance of gunpowder and they had guns. They had muskets.
I thought they didn't have guns back then. That's another thing that was throwing me off. Like, where did guns come from?
Well, guns, they did have them back then. And yeah, some people will tell you that they didn't, but they did. Most every tribe that participated in this slave trade, excuse me, had guns. They used them to capture slaves.
Okay.
Now, in fact, they have guns on the pictures that I showed you. Hold on.
Like the stream, guys. Like the stream.
Yeah, hit the like button. All right, I think this is it. So you see these two, they're holding guns. I think this
Yeah.
one is too. I don't know if these are sticks or no, these are guns too. So yeah, so yeah, they like to make them look like, these, they just on some ninja stuff and they don't need guns, but the real ones use guns.
They had guns, yeah.
Yeah.
It's so funny. They look like little old ladies with guns.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my God.
So yeah. So no, they had them. But in the movie, because they want to make them look like, warrior chicks that can take down a man, just based on their warriorness and their vagina power.
Mm-hmm.
But in real life, nah, they were strapped. So yeah. But no, and that's another thing though. So they had plenty of guns, plenty of gunpowder. We've seen them train with guns, but when they go creeping in the grass in the middle of the night, they just bring machetes, no guns.
Right. Machete.
Because yeah, because they wanted to make them seem badass.
Yeah. And they were like real ninjas in the movie.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure they wasn't that good in person.
Well, I mean, they were just people capable of shooting and taking a shot. So look at this. Look at this depiction. They all have guns.
Yeah.
The true woman warriors. It says the true story of the women warriors of the Dahomey, and they're women with guns and a spear. So they weren't just besting men with their ninja flips and back-to-back conflicts and their Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, stick moves. Shout out to Donatello. They wasn't getting it like that. No, they were just somebody who was capable of pulling a trigger. But that don't make good movies. So they went with another story. Anyway, they had so much gunpowder that kids were playing with it. And then let me see what's next. Any thoughts on that?
No, I'm right there with you. Like, I honestly thought that the guns were made up in a movie. I didn't know that they really had guns. So that's kind of interesting to me.
Guns and gunpowder was one of the main things that they traded slaves for.
Mm-hmm.
And the quagmire that Africans were in was that if we don't participate in the in the slave trade, if we don't participate in it, then the other tribes will. And they'll have all the guns and we'll have all the spears. And then, we'll be part of the slave trade, like on the boat.
Right.
So, yeah, that was that. Now, also notice that they never really focused on the men in the. Oh, that was another thing that happened in the movie. The twin god thing. So apparently, by the way, this is not in any historical sense their religion or how it works, but you could just make up stuff when you're a white woman. Apparently, they had twin gods, a man god and a woman god, a woman and her brother, and they ruled equally and blah, 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 blah. No, that didn't happen.
So that was made up too.
Yes, that was highly just made. They're making up gods now. Yeah, is essentially what happened. But and also around this time in the movie, she suggested, Viola Davis suggested that we should end the slave trade and sell palm oil.
So what kind of oil?
Palm oil. Apparently, it's the oil that comes from trees, or it comes from palm trees.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to know why African tribes didn't trade in palm oil?
Why?
Because it's extremely stupid. Like, when you think about all the stuff that they wanted in the 1800s, gunpowder. Later, they'll want regular oil, the kind like Rockefeller got. You have olive oil, you have peanut oil, you have vegetable. You already have every oil that exists. You have oil coming out of everything, and you're like, hey, you want some palm oil? You want to send your ships from the U.S. to Africa to pick up some palm oil?
Yeah, that is pretty random to want to sell palm oil.
Exactly. Now, Africa has gold, it has diamonds, it has platinum, it has ivory. But for whatever reason, they say, yeah, but we got palm too.
You can get that from anywhere.
Exactly. We have palm. And this is like right here in California, there's palm trees.
Mm-hmm. Florida, anywhere.
Yeah, exactly. Why in the hell would they want your palm oil? Why? Like, I get that you want to give up slavery, even though in real life y'all didn't. But I understand that you wanted to depict in the movie that, she's so sweet. She wants to give up slavery and go into the palm oil business.
But it just don't make any sense.
Exactly. So someone looked it up for me last night. Apparently, palm oil costs like $3.25 per kilo right now.
Mm.
It is not a lucrative business. People aren't out trying to buy palm oil like that. So I don't know where they came up with that aspect. Well, it's a woman idea because it's supposed to be something that makes her seem as benign and benevolent as possible. Meaning that if they were to sell ivory, it would look like, they're just mass killing elephants or something like that. So they're like, okay, how can I make her seem like a good human being? Oh, we're gonna make it seem like she wanted to end slavery and get into the palm oil business.
But
Now,
why palm? Never mind. I don't know.
no, go for it.
No, but I'm saying palm oil, like all, like you said, all those resources they have, the gold and everything, and you want to do palm? I didn't even know they were saying palm. I
Yeah,
told you I was falling asleep. It was so whack. So yeah.
yeah, exactly. Hold on, let me, because I want to see something right quick. I think, hold on. Okay, so apparently slavery had already ended in England at the time of this movie. So the beginning of the movie, they said that it was 1823, that the movie took place in 1823. And slavery had already ended in England in 1807. So, and I think that they abolished this trade at that time too. So really, you're just looking at a situation where they're trading slaves illegally, and people weren't really checking for slaves like that. Okay, Melly, have you seen the movie Amistad?
No.
So, Amistad was a movie about a slave ship that where the slaves rebelled and they took over the ships, but they found themselves in America anyway because they couldn't sail back to Africa.
Right.
And then there was a court trial over it. But one of the things about the court trial was they was like, listen, these people were transporting slaves illegally. So after a certain point, the slaves that were here in the U.S. were all born here. You know, the sons and daughters of other slave women.
Hmm.
So the slavery was about to end anyway, and for all intents and purposes, it had already ended. So for her to say like it's her idea to end the slave trade is bullshit.
Yeah. You catching it, like because you
Yeah.
know a lot about history. See, people that don't really know are not gonna catch the mistakes
Yeah.
that they made.
So let's see. All right. So someone says game stays the same. Oh, okay. Name yourself after me. Nice. All right. It says TWK was what's TWK? Oh, the Woman
Mhm.
King was a very Jihei and didn't show enough position. Oh, well, okay. Here's the thing, gang. Movies are not showing any TNA anymore. I noticed that. I noticed that they are not showing enough titties in movies anymore. Because I'm old enough to have been through the 80s and the 90s where they showed it a lot. And they showed it so much that in my youth, you couldn't help but see it. Like you could, if you went into the VHS tape collection and watched a movie long enough, you know that eventually you'll see it. Whether you see them like bouncing or you see like a sex scene right before Jason cuts both their heads off or something like that, they always showed some. I think they showed some nakedness in Terminator 1 when he was killing the wrong Sarah Connors. So yeah, you can always count on at least two or at least one pair of titties in a movie. But no, that's no longer the case. That's no longer the case anymore. The best you get outside of like the paid premium cable channels, and even then, they show a bunch of penises, but the best you get is some chick with a bra on or a bikini top, and yeah, it's sucking in that regard. I don't even look for it there anymore
I'm not gonna
because,
lie, I saw some tetas in Power.
but see, that goes into, well, first of all, that's the cable stuff I was talking about, but
Mhm.
secondly, that goes into what I was saying. They always show a penis or some crap like that there.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, take a look at this new Power. what is it like? Okay, so I've noticed that all of the powers have something Jihei in it. All of the new ones. Take what's the Ghost? Take Ghost, the one with the sun, right?
Hmm.
You know. Okay, first of all, Ghost's son gets all the pretty light skinned girls that never get naked.
Tariq, yeah.
Never. They never get naked. And so basically he gets with that one chick, that one chick that was from Everybody Hates Chris. I was like, ooh, maybe I'll see her naked. Nope. She just takes her sweater off and then they fuck with a bra on. Because that's what people do. They fuck with bras on. And then he gets with the other chick and nope, still bra on. And then the one woman's daughter, Mary J. Blige's daughter, still bra on. Like, what the fuck? What in the hell?
But they showed his mom's tetas.
Nobody wants to see that. And
Yeah.
that's the old one. That's the one with the grown ghost.
Yeah. That was the one with Ghost in it. Hmm.
Yeah. Like the 3LW tatas. Actually, that was decent. But still, I'm talking about the new ones. I want to see the young, hot, light-skinned ones. Nope, not a one. Between all 6 of them, not a one. Not a one nipple. And then, but they do show like that middle child that looked like Jesse Smollett doing his whole basketball look. They always throw in that nasty shit.
True.
So yeah, that's just how it is.
Oh, and I hate to change the subject, kind of. Well, it's not really changing the subject, but yeah, the trailer at the movie theater, they had this Jihei movie with all men. They showed, yeah, right before they showed the movie. It
What
was
was
a
it
Jihei.
about?
It was just a whole bunch. It was about the LGBTQ plus community, and it showed a whole bunch of like Jihei men just acting silly and kissing and having.
Oh crap!
Yeah, yeah. Anybody went to the movies to see it, they know what I'm talking about. The trailer right before. Yep.
Oh crap! So nothing is safe. Listen, here's the thing. That is the one thing I don't want to see. Like, I don't want to see men kissing men. I do know that you exist and I appreciate your rights to do so. However, there was always a respect. So I grew up like I grew up like next to, even though our cities don't touch, I grew up next to San Francisco. And even there, back in the day, I'm not going to say knew their place, but they just understood that it made everybody else uncomfortable and they respected that. So they kept it to themselves. But now they try to force it on you.
Oh yeah.
You try to watch Game of Thrones, which I do like watching, but then every now and again some crap comes up. I don't want to see that crap. I don't want to see it. I just want to know what happens. And they know that straight men turn their head when it happens. So what do? They try to spring it on you.
Yeah.
They try to spring it. Like, so you watching Power, and then they about to get into a love scene, like that one professor and that basketball player. And then, it's like, ooh, am I about to see the tata? So you look intensely, and then they just flip it to his brother and some dude. Let's get back to the movie. I'm getting pissed off thinking about it. Actually, next super chat. Okay. The P oil was for lamps and main source of light. Okay. Answer me this, Dane C. What other oils could they use for lamp light? Once again, I can't iterate enough that palm grows here as well. But what other oils did they use? I know that they were plenty. I know that's not the only oil used for that. I know because Egyptians had that oil. Like, it seems like you could pretty much get it anywhere. But nevertheless, slavery was ending anyway. The slave trade was ending anyway. This was them trying to make it seem like it was some the homie bitch's idea. All right. Oh, and this movie was ridiculously long.
2 hours.
Yeah. Okay. So then you have the bad guy, right? And he's bad because he's bad. Now, on the surface, he's doing the same thing that the Dahomies are doing, and that is selling slaves from weaker tribes. That's essentially what the Dahomies are doing. But for some reason, he's bad because penis. So they get this guy who's the villain. He's the bad guy. He's the general of the superior army, and he don't play. So he comes and he demands 20 Dahomey slave girls, 20 slave soldier chicks. And she volunteers the 20. She picks the 20 to go into slavery. Now, the girl who was just training at the time, the one that's supposed to be the face of the Dahomey, the girl who was just training at the time was picked. She was picked to go into slavery, and she stepped forward. Now, that is an interesting thing because I thought Dahomey was volunteer.
Right.
Like when you were told to, work the palm fields for some dude that you didn't find too attractive, you balked, you pushed him down, you ran amok, and you decided to join the Dahomey before you went through the whole dishonor of marriage. But when you were picked to be a slave, you just stepped forward. Like, yes, I'm gonna start picking people for slavery. Like, wait a minute. I thought you could leave the Dahomey at any time. Like, when they're picking people for slaves, you're like, oh no, I'm out of this shit.
Right.
Like, the whole point is to not have that happen. So it was very weird how compliant she was for slavery, actual slavery, the whole chain to the ship and everything, she was down for that, but she wasn't down for being the wife of a wealthy African guy.
I thought that they were choosing them to fight, not to go through slavery.
Well, I mean, the guy asked for slaves, and then he said pick 20, and they did. Now they wasn't picked for actual slavery, but she didn't know that at the time of picking.
Okay.
And but she stepped forward.
She was so happy though. Wasn't she happy when she stepped forward?
I don't know. Like I don't remember her expression, but I will say that she seemed more compliant with that than marrying that dude.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that happened. She was, and then this is where it gets interesting. For whatever reason, instead of for the general taking his slaves right then and there, he decides like, okay, I need 20 new slave women from your soldier corps, not your regular corps. I need 20, new slave women from the soldier corps. And it was like, okay, so we'll deliver them to the ports. It's like, well, why don't you just give them to me now? Why don't you just give them to me right now? I'm headed to the ports anyway. But instead, the plan was, oh no, I'll meet you there. I'll meet you at the port. And oh, by the way, this movie only had 2 scenes. One was the Dahomey village, and the other one was the port. That's it. There was only 2 places in all of Africa that they filmed this. So very cheaply put together. Anyway, so the slaves were to walk there themselves. And then they finally get to the port, and something strange happened. He was happy. He's like, oh, you've delivered my slaves. And then she said, yes, I have a gift for you. And she kicked over a thing of random heads. Now, this general, when he seen the 20 armed women, because they had swords or they had machetes, when he seen the 20 chicks with machetes, he didn't say to himself, why are these chicks in their uniform with machetes in hand if they're supposed to, be getting ready for a life of slavery? He didn't say to himself that. He said, oh, you delivered the slaves, and she kicked over the basket and it had heads in it. And she screamed at the top of her lungs, "The Dahomey king will not be intimidated." And then all the women ran off. "We fear no one." And then they scurried away in fear. Very strange. Very, very, very strange. But what's your thoughts?
That was the part of the movie that was confusing to me.
The only part? You kidding me?
Yeah. Well, one of the parts that
Yeah.
were really confusing to me. That's where I lost it because I didn't know. I thought, like you said, he picked 20 women, but I didn't realize it was to go into slavery. So that
Right.
all kind of was. I'm not gonna lie, that was just the confusing part. But I did see the head part when she kicked the heads over, and I didn't
Yeah.
understand that as well. So yeah, that part had me.
Well, maybe he wanted some head.
Maybe.
So and then she commits to fighting the guy one-on-one. Now, if the other girl wasn't there to cut the rope and, stop the other guys from coming, apparently she would have been surrounded and captured by the same guy that captured her before and raped her. Her plan was going to set her up to be captured and raped again. That was just stupid. But at least she would have had a chance to swing at the guy. Now, while all this is going on, the light-skinned dude, and I don't even think he's like a real Creole or light-skinned dude. I think he's just like a white person, with a tan.
And a perm.
Yeah, and a perm and stuff, yeah, or a wig.
I thought the same thing.
Yeah. But anyway, that guy was there, and he's just watching like, oh, this is interesting. So she screams that the Dahomey king will not be intimidated, and then the women run off in intimidation. She fights and looks like she was losing, and then she too ran away because stuff makes sense in movies like this. So that happened. Let me see what's next. This movie is just, I should have typed it. I just wrote my notes, but I should have typed it. All right. So the guy, that French guy who just so happened to be half the homie.
Yeah.
Now, yeah. Who I don't even know how he came into being. Because let's see, slavery ended in France. Let me see when it ended in France. It seems as though it ended when he was his mother like the last slave? Like is that went? It was kind of weird. But nevertheless, his mother was a slave and he was born to a white father, but he was free somehow. And he's roaming he's apparently he's not a slaver, but he's working for a slaver.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what is he, the secretary or something like that? Like, he is taking a very active part in the slave trade. He's going to the country where they're slaving people. Now, for whatever reason, he decides to take a bath. Because that's what you do. You see, when you're a mulatto slaver during the slave trade, the smartest thing in the world to do is remove your gun and sword, get completely naked, and get into an African creek. That is the smartest thing that a man could do. You ever hear the term caught slipping? There is nothing more caught slipping than to be a slave trader, naked in Africa, taking a bath in a creek. But they do that because it seems like the cool thing to do. So he's taking a bath in the creek when the chick sneaks up on him, and she checks him. He's just shivering in fear because she has a machete, even though he has like muscles and shit. He's shivering in fear at the sight of a look like a 14-year-old girl with a machete. Yeah, and that's how they meet. And because he's more handsome than the guy she was chosen to wed, apparently there's some tension there.
I have a question, GameChanger. Do you think he was more handsome than she was pretty?
Good question. Well, his hair was longer. Yeah.
So silly.
So yeah, maybe that's the case. Like his hair was longer. You tell me.
I think she was an attractive girl, so probably equal.
Okay. So I guess that was supposed to be the relationship that makes sense, even though it doesn't make sense. Like with all the mosquitoes, the deadly snakes, the deadly lions, and all that stuff, you are in an African creek naked. Not to mention all the people that hate you because you enslaved their mother, their father, their brother, etc., etc., etc. And apparently, if a little girl can walk up on you with a machete, then anybody could. But you decided to take a bath there. That just didn't make sense. But once again, it's this movie.
Right.
All right. So yeah, so she was chastised for flirting with the guy, etc., 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 and she's in trouble. And what follows is interesting because now we start to see the dynamic between Viola Davis and the chief wife. And by chief wife, she's the chief wife because she's the hottest, obviously, and she's the most vocal to the opposition. So she speaks to the chief wife, and the chief wife was like, "Listen, I have the king's ear. I can speak favorably of you." And she's like, "It seems like the king favors me, and he listens to me more than he listens to you." Now, this is very important. And you could tell that this is definitely some sisterhood feminist shit with that. Because what they are trying to say in that is that kings prefer, or black men, generally speaking, prefer functional women than beautiful women. Meaning that we listen to women who do stuff for us more than we listen to women who are bringing the princess into the world. And that's why you get this belief. That's why you get these women who believe that we want a strong woman. It's like, no, we don't. We want those wives that was in that movie. We don't want Viola Davis. We don't want that bitch with the nails that she's talking about clawing niggas' eyes out with. We don't want any of that crap. What we do want is some of them wives that the king had.
Yeah, they were gorgeous.
Yeah, exactly. With the hair to match.
Right.
But, apparently the king respected her more. Because wives aren't respected, warrior bitches are. See, that's what they try to do. This is how they brainwash these chicks into masculinity. They always show the most obnoxious, combative chicks being for everything else. Oh, Miss Sophia, Miss Sophia, Miss Sophia, Miss Sophia, you're fat as fuck. But why is the guys in the movie always going after the wrong chick? The black guys, when a woman writes the movie, the black guys are always going after the wrong type of chick.
That's how black women want it.
Well, that's how they assume. They're creating this assumption of that's what we want. That is not what we want. We want more of the queens that was in his court. So they had to show that. And then I'm gonna skip forward a bit. So, and then she gets ready for the trials, right? The trials so she can become a warrior chick. Now, it's interesting because, like, you can just fail that. And then where do you go? But nevertheless, she does the trial for the warrior chick. And this trial consists of three things. The first step is to walk through thorns. Now, through the whole walk through thorns process, none of the chicks decided to use their machetes to actually cut through the thorn bush, like cut a path through the thorn bush.
Yeah, they were all just walking through like dummies.
Yeah. It's like, you could just use a machete to cut through it. That would make things a lot easier, but no. And that probably was the test. They were testing to see who's smart enough to use their machete to cut through the thorn bush, but nobody did. And then that's that. Stage 2 was a wall, and they climb a wall. Okay. And then stage 3, it was about 5 muscle-bound guys that they had to get through. Now, for whatever reason, this little girl, she body slammed one of the muscle-bound men that was protecting her from the goal because, stuff like that happens in real life all the time, right?
Right.
Like, for that to be true, it would have to be the equivalent of, say, me body slamming a guy that is maybe like 350 to 400 pounds of muscle, relatively speaking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Can you imagine me body slamming you?
Yeah, exactly. It would be like you body slamming me. It doesn't make sense. And yeah, you can go to like those defense courses and stuff like that, but even there, from what I understand, they teach women to like gouge out eyes and kick in the nuts and stuff like that, which makes more sense because these are like weak spots. So, I get that. But this is a body slam, a whole body slam. That's just ridiculous.
Yeah.
So
and none of them fought like women. I noticed. They all fought like men.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. So here you have the bitches body slamming grown men. Now it was about 5 muscle bound dudes, but she body slammed one and then she reached the goal. It's like, wait a minute, where's the other 3? Oh, and then the other chick punched out one because that's exactly how it works. Okay, here's the thing. Here's the thing, fellas. Listen to me and listen to me good.
Okay.
If you have to jump to punch somebody, you have already lost. You have lost that fight. The moment you jump up, me, I'm 6'0". So I have long arms. So even if a dude was like 7 foot tall, he's still within my standing reach. So if a dude is like 8 foot tall, I would have to jump up like Little Mac on Mike Tyson Punch Out to hit him. Now, because so much of the punching power comes from the foot, your footwork and things like that, you're fucked. You're fucked if the only punch you can muster is one where your feet are off the ground. Your feet are not planted into the ground. You cannot leverage the motion of your feet into the punch. You are fucked at that point. Plus, you're a girl. But she is jumping in the air and punching dudes out because that's exactly how a punch works. And landing perfectly on the face, even though he has a mask on. And they never say what happened to the other 3 guys after they punched out the first 2 on with her either. So she reaches the finish line, she reaches the goal, and she is now head bitch of the new recruits. And it seemed like all the girls passed anyway, which was weird. Even though they made it first and stuff like that, all the other girls that didn't even seem to make it, they just like, okay, all right, y'all go home now.
Well, she made it because she was cute too.
Yeah.
That's why.
And that's another thing. And that's another thing that killed me about what the king said. So when he presented her with the sword, right? Or why do I call it a sword? It's a machete. It's a machete.
Same thing.
No, it's not.
No?
No, it is not. you know, because a sword is made for killing people. It is a combat weapon. A machete is actually a gardening tool in a very is meant to clear weeds and, you know, like cut through thick forests if you want to make a trail or something.
Right.
So it's not like designed. So when you get cut with something that's made for chopping people, it's different than being cut from something, you know, kind of like a butter knife is different than a steak knife,
True.
you know, because one was made to cut meat and the other one was made to cut butter. Now you can still, yeah, exactly. It's more blunt. It's not as sharp, you know, and it's made with poor quality steel. But just like you could cut a steak with a butter knife, it just takes more work. Like you could cut a person with a machete, it just takes more work
So I wonder why they didn't have swords and they only had machetes.
because they are Dahomey. I guess, you know, like why do they think
Yeah.
palm oil is a big thing? Who knows, you know?
Yeah.
But remember, the regular warriors had guns. Like, you know, in all the pictures we've seen, they had guns.
And it seems like in the movie they didn't have many guns. They had guns, but it seems like they should have had more.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, they hid them in the movie because they wanted to show the women beat the men in single combat. So when the king presented the young girl with the machete, he said, "You are beautiful. If you wasn't so skilled, I would make you my wife." Now, what kind of insult is that to married to wives everywhere? Basically, they saying being married, you know, being a wife is something that women without combat skills should do. You're stupid. So why? So being a wife is just for women that can't fight. In other words, you see the subtle messages that they try to add into that.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just weird. All right. So Chowhound, thanks for the heavy hand. I appreciate you, brother. It says GC. You know they're doing a narrative influence. Wait, you know they're doing a narrative influencing in the movie to push what is okay versus what isn't. Absolutely, absolutely. And they're also trying to romanticize masculinity amongst women. They're basically saying that you're more functional as a soldier woman than you are as a wife. If you were less skilled, you would be a wife. But since you are so skilled, you are this warrior bitch. So that happened. And then it's discovered that in the process of being great, Viola Davis had a daughter. Now, they don't actually explain how Viola Davis, you know, began being chained up and gang raped by people who sell slaves. So these are professional slavers. They sell slaves all the time. They somehow captured Viola Davis when she was younger. And instead of I don't know, selling her off after they finished raping her, she somehow escaped while pregnant, mind you. While 9 months pregnant, she escaped the slavers who didn't sell her to Brazil or to the whites. But she somehow, instead of for that, escaped. And in her process of escaping, you know, because it's so easy for a woman who's 9 months pregnant to escape, you know, captivity, in the forest, she has the baby. And then for, I don't know, whatever reason, she puts the baby up for adoption. But before she does that, she takes a knife and cuts into the newborn baby because, you know, the homie.
Right.
Yes, that's what you want to do. Oh, this is my beautiful, precious baby girl, a beautiful gift from God. Now let me just take my knife. Let me stab her. and then I'm gonna take a unsanitary shark tooth and I'm going to put it into her person and so she can have this in her for the rest of her life.
Well, I think she did it so she can find her one day,
There
which
is a
is
lot.
still stupid.
Well, okay, Melody, and I'm pretty sure a lot of fellas want to know where. If you do you have a birthmark?
I do not, actually.
Okay, I think I would have to examine thoroughly. But
I
many go for it.
no, I was saying unless this little thing on my finger, it's really small. This might be it.
Okay, well there you go. You have a little small thing on your finger.
Mm-hmm.
So most people have birthmarks. Why don't you just go off of the birthmark and say, "Oh, this is your birthmark. This is the birthmark of my baby. I should assume that you are my child. You're the same age and you were adopted, and I gave up a child at that same time." Which also doesn't make sense. See, I think that you don't really have orphanages like that in countries with slaves. Like, who's adopting kids? They're slaves.
Yeah.
If you want a kid, then you buy one from the slave and you free it and you just raise it like yours. That's what adopted parents would do. Why would you go to an orphanage? Like, so there's that, and then there's okay, you have a bunch of kids who need food, and you have a bunch of people who buy kids. There you go. So I doubt that there was really an orphanage thing going on like that. Now, when you gave your baby girl up, you should have realized that it's most likely that your child would wind up in slavery one way or another. But you did it anyway. And why did you do it? Because just like the young girl, your daughter, you chose the Dahomey over slave or over family. You knew that the Dahomey wouldn't let you in, having to breastfeed and everything. So you chose to be Dahomey over being a mother. You see, what they're saying, the message that they're trying to give with that is that sisterhood is more important than motherhood. She chose sisterhood over motherhood and didn't begin to embrace the daughter until sisterhood and motherhood became one and the same. And she cuts up babies and put teeth in them for the rest of their life.
Right. But it worked. She found her.
There was a number of ways she could have found her, Melody. She once again, a birthmark. That's the key thing. And even if she just did the cut would still be there.
True.
Like there's a number of ways to do that. And if she don't have a birthmark, that is her mark. She's like the only person in the world without a birthmark. So, it's like, oh, I had a girl without a birthmark. That's your age. But anyway, so yeah, so then all of a sudden that's her daughter because movies make sense. That's some Luke Skywalker fake shit. Anyway, like I say, it would have been good in the 80s, but nah, that don't fly now. We already seen Star Wars. So that whole I am your father is that ship done sailed decades ago.
Yeah. And it was kind of obvious that was going to be her daughter.
All right.
It wasn't a surprise.
Yeah. Well, I was surprised that it was written that bad. So Mutt says not true. Okay, so women, I'm talking about if y'all actually look like, I seen Melanie come up. But if you actually look like your Instagram thing, then I would give you a thorough examination as well. So yeah, if I don't know where all these birthmarkless people are coming from. All right. So what was I? So yeah, that part was just crap. So then, for whatever reason, the general of the opposing army, the bad guy, he tells the Europeans about his invasion plan. Like he's about to invade, or he's about to take out the Dahomey. He's going to have these overwhelming numbers and he's going to destroy the Dahomeys. So the Dahomeys have a battle plan. They go to the campsite of the enemy, right before they camp, because they just know. They just know, for whatever reason, of all the places that the enemy could camp, they are going to camp right here at this spot. They just know that. Like, oh, where else would they camp? It's got to be right here. So they're going to camp right here. Even though it seems like the slave fort seems to be like in walking distance or horsing distance from the Dahomey camp anyway, and they could just go that way. But nevertheless, that's what happens. They bury some gunpowder underneath what looks like a termite hill. And then they set it up as a trap. Now, this is some of those things like the movie Home Alone. Melody, have you seen the movie Home Alone?
Yeah.
So you seen when the burglars came and, the burglars seemed to fall like for all of his traps?
Yeah.
Like, these are the people that fall flat on their ass when they see Hot Wheels on the floor.
Yeah.
Or if they heat the door handle, they just stand there holding it like as opposed to just touching it like, oh shit, that was hot.
Yeah.
Like they're just like a bunch of incompetent buffoons. Like they get hit with the paint can and it's like, oh, and then the other guys see the first guy get hit and then he get hit again. Like,
yeah.
It's like all of the boys' booby traps just work perfectly. Just too perfect. It was kind of like that. It was just like too perfect of a booby trap. So apparently these guys, these African warriors and their generals, they see a field full of termite hills or ant hills, and they say, oh, you know something? I'm going to set up camp next to the ant hill. Now, nobody is going to knock over any of the ant hills. Nobody is going to build their tent on top of it. Nobody's going to accidentally bump an ant hill with their horse. Or nobody's going to just say, you know something? I don't want ants crawling on me in the middle of the night. So I'm going to not put my tent next to the ant hill. Nobody's saying that. Apparently, they just like to camp right next to ant hills. A bunch of them at that. And not do anything. Nobody disrupted the anthill and say, oh, crap, there's gunpowder in this shit. Nobody smelled the palm oil. And nobody seen the puddles of palm oil leading to the anthills. Like, of all the soldiers there, nobody noticed that. Like, hey, this is funny. Nobody smelled it.
Nope.
Like, why does this campsite smells like palm oil? That's strange. Like, none of the horses just accidentally kicked over a thing. Like, it's just too perfect to work like that.
Well, it worked.
Yeah, because movies, right?
Because movies, exactly.
Yeah. And then the Dahomey attack again. Now, with all that gunpowder, what do the Dahomey do? They attack with machetes. Because gunpowder is for laying traps. It's not for actually guns. Like normal people.
Right.
So, yeah. And then, of course, they win that battle, but the little girl was captured and she was about to be sold into slavery. Now, for whatever reason, they said that the soldiers sell for more, so we'll sell them first. I have no idea why they would believe female soldiers sell for more than male soldiers. Or, excuse me, female soldiers sell for more than regular females that look like women. I don't understand why they would even think that. Why would somebody who's trained to be unruly and defiant be worth more than somebody who's brought up docile? That does not, to a slaver, that does not make any sense at all. But that's the logic that they were going with. And then, they tried to rebel. One of the homie chicks got killed. And it turns out that, the I believe it's not butter dude. Oh, by the way, and this is good news for all of you dudes who just so happen to be like Shamar Moore type dudes. Light-skinned dudes are definitely making a comeback in promotion wise. I noticed that a lot of the stuff that I watch, like House of Dragons, Rings of Power, there's a new interview with the Vampire series coming out. Like all of this like fantasy type, old timey, there's another one, Bridgerton County type crap. All that crap features a light-skinned dude. Like it features like a green-eyed, light-skinned dude that's like the head of the elven, the new elves or some crap like that. So they're putting like light-skinned dudes in stuff that is meant for white men, but a dark-skinned dude would just be too much. So like too much Negro. So they just say, okay, we'll put a light-skinned dude in. And since it's a sexualized genre, he's sexualized because vampires are sexy and elves are sexy and shit like that. And apparently, slavers are sexy. So they're doing that. So yeah, looks like light-skinned dudes, it's your turn again. Congratulations on that.
Nah, dark skinned men are always gonna be it.
Really? Okay.
I think so.
Oh, okay. I don't know. I'm just noticing that that's what they're showing in the shit that I watch. So
I don't think the dark skin era will ever come to an end for men. Now for women, it's a different story, but for men, nah.
You think what, dark skinned women are gonna be back in fashion? I don't even know who's supposed to be like the it thing right now.
I think that light skinned women are the ones really in fashion right now. And the dark skinned men are in fashion. But yeah.
Okay. Well, fashion change, and maybe light skinned dudes are about to get a second go around,
Mm-hmm.
From the Prince days. Maybe they're bringing back the Prince era. Who knows?
And the barges, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about, the barge. Yeah.
Yeah.
So hey, I hope y'all get another shot at the throne. So good luck with that. But anyway, the light-skinned dude buys her. He buys her and then he takes her in a room, and she's still combative because they always got to show her in a position of authority, and they can never show her in a submissive position. So, she's combative even though she's chained. She was like, then why is the door locked? He was like, because if you ran out, they'll kill you. So the main chick, Viola Davis, at the same time, she's defying the king. The king said, just let it go. These are just two chicks. People get captured in war. Live with it. At least we won the battle. And she's like, no, I'm going to defy the king. And then she starts running the field alone. And then a bunch of other Dahomey bitches come running after her. And some dudes came because they all want to follow this chick who undermines the king, but because she is just she got so much moxie. She has so much, she's a strong black woman and we all must follow. They go and they raid the encampment. And then what happens after that is interesting because the young Dahomey bitch, she comes sneaking out the window in the middle of the night with a sheet on because she just got some light-skinned penis. And so she comes sneaking out the thing in the middle of the night, and she couldn't put her regular clothes back on, which is essentially a bed sheet as well, because they wanted the people to know that she got fucked.
Right.
They wanted the audience to know that she got fucked without actually having to show her titties. They didn't actually show the whole she got fucked thing. And then they just went on a rampage, freeing slaves and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I'm gonna be honest, by this time I sparsely watched. I was nodding off and I was just getting tired of all the crap. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
same here.
okay, so did you, because I was like, maybe I'm missing something or you could fill it in better, but, or was that pretty much it?
I mean, that was pretty much it.
Yeah. So, and then she defeats the guy and then she becomes the woman king because, why? And it pisses off. And basically, they wanted to show a hierarchy that put warriors over wives in the Dahomey tribe. That was the whole point of the movie. Like he had to choose between a warrior and a wife to take on the title the woman king, and which doesn't make any sense. Like, why would a king have to choose another king? Like, do our president have to pick another president? Like, so that didn't make sense.
No.
But they had to show that men will choose. They basically just wanted to show a man choosing the warrior over the wife. So black women can grow up thinking that we prefer warriors over wives, and they don't get a rude awakening until later in life. When they say, what she got that I ain't got? Hair,
Mhm.
a personality, an ability to cook, a desire to have kids, a desire to nurture the kids, a desire to raise the kids, a desire to get me a sandwich, a soft voice. She don't wield the
Beauty.
machete. Yeah, beauty. Exactly. It's
Um,
like whoever
lose
told
weight.
you, I want a machete wielding bitch that say stuff like and then attacks was out your somebody has misled you, my dear. Somebody has misled you. And if you think that I have a use for your palm oil, somebody has also misled you. Now, what I'm about to say goes to the ladies, including you, Melody.
Mhm.
But this doesn't really apply to you because, as you told me before, you don't really watch movies as a kid, or you haven't really watched movies as a kid, or now. So, women, we are not like you, men. If you ask us what we want without telling you what you offer, then you will get an honest answer. Meaning, if you say something like, I am a outdoorsy woman. I'm a woman who loves the outdoors. And you're an attractive woman, and then you walk up and say, so what kind of women do you like? If he wants to fuck you, he's going to say, I want a woman who is an outdoors woman. Men lie in that regard. However, if you ask us without starting with that, men who lie too damn much will say what he thinks he wants you to hear, or he'll just be honest with you. Ask the collective of men what they want. Don't go to these movie theater bitches and have them they will have you fucked up. This movie is written by a white woman, and Color Purple is written by a woman that's into woman. The L part of L Gibbet. It was written by one of those. They do not have your best interests at heart. They have nothing but shade and hatred for you. They have nothing but scorn. That is your life. Scorn and porn. They do not like you. Do not listen to them when they tell you what we choose. When we choose a woman king, if there is such a thing, and there isn't, not even in this made up culture, in this based on a real culture, we choose the best of all of our wives. That is who you choose. The chief wife is the one that bears the best kid, particularly the best son. That is the one that, well, typically, in many African cultures, it's the first wife, but the most favored, and I'm thinking myself as a mini king, the most favored would be the one that bores the best son, the most capable son, the most competent son. That would be the best of all my wives. Were I polygamous. Not this spear machete wielding warrior bitch. You snot crying ugly bitch, you. My bad, Melanie. I'm hogging the mic. Go for it.
Oh, I was just listening to what you were saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what I took from the movie, honestly, was I'm sorry if I sound low. My throat
Mhm.
hurts. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I get you.
Okay. But what I took from the movie is they want to brainwash young women into thinking you have to be a strong, independent black woman. You don't need no man. Period.
Exactly. Exactly. Well, I mean, they're not even selling the whole "you don't need a man" thing, because what they're selling is if you're this strong woman, you'll get the man, because that's what men want. Apparently, that Frenchman, that weird ass light skin looking dude. I'm not saying he's weird because he's French, but that's part of it. Or I'm saying, or he's weird looking because he's an ugly dude or something like that. I'm saying he's weird looking because he's the type of mulatto that don't really exist here. It's kind of like a funny form of mulatto is in his soul. It's weird. That's what I mean.
Yeah, he
So
looks white. He looks all white with like black people hair.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's just yeah, it's a weird type of, anyway. So
Yeah.
he's that. And that's why but he's seen her, like, from the moment he's seen her, she was wielding a machete at some niggas, and every time he's seen her, she was always in warrior mode.
He was
And
attracted to a warrior.
exactly, that doesn't happen in real life. That does not happen in real life.
Yeah, it's just backwards.
The
It's like
only
they.
the only men who are attracted to warriors are men that never been with warriors
Mhm.
or anything close. Nobody want a bitch born in combat,
No,
you know.
it's like be strong and independent and fight, fight for your rights.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what I got from it. You are the king. You don't need no man. You are king. It's just bad all the way around.
Somebody said, me and all my cousins like the soft girl era. Listen, this movie killed the soft girl era. You cannot present yourself as a soft girl and support movies like this at the same time. You can't. There's
Mm-mm.
nothing more destructive or disruptive to a soft girl image than shit like this. Than to have you, powering your way through a thorn bush and, wielding spears at men.
Mhm.
There's nothing soft girl about that. So
No.
they killed the soft girl era. They cut the soft girl era with a machete. They can't have both. They shouldn't have supported this. See, white women, they maintain their soft girl image somewhat. That's why they put movies like this out for you. This movie was written by a white woman about black women.
This is how she sees black women, pretty much.
Exactly. And this is how she wants black women and society, black men, to see them. She old, right? White bitch is old.
Mhm.
How much you want to bet that before sucking a BBC, she said to that black man, "Why do you like white women so much?" And he said, "Because black women tend to be a little masculine." And she's like, "Oh yeah, you see me as feminine and you see them as masculine. I'm benefiting with from this dynamic with the BBC that's presently in me. Therefore, I'm going to perpetuate this. She could have just as easily made the almost exact same movie about Vikings. There were female Vikings. There were females out there with the sword and axes and rowing the boats and stuff like that. The shield maidens and crap like that. They had those. She could have made movies like that, but no, she didn't. She wanted to masculinize the image of y'all, not her, y'all.
Yep. And like, I don't know, especially it's offensive to women like me who can't even break a nail. Like, and then to just see our image like this. This movie to me was whack.
Yeah.
And I'm sticking by it, and I give it a 4 and maybe even a 3. Because even like other races of people, when they see that movie, they already think that we're hardcore masculine women who don't take care of our men or anything like that. They already see us like that. So to see a movie like this is going to make it even worse.
Exactly.
So yeah, it's garbage, trash.
Exactly.
And don't waste your money or time, right, GC?
Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate that, it sold reasonably a lot, like during the opening weekend, even though it topped the box office during the opening weekend, but they scheduled it to where there was no competition. So, nobody was really competing in the movie theaters. Nevertheless, nobody should have watched it. By watching this movie, you have you killed the soft girl era.
Mm-hmm.
You will not be able to create another soft girl era until, you see, here's the thing. You can't have both images. Both the soft girl and the Dahomey image cannot exist in the same brain. Meaning that here, see, black women, you listen to me and you listen to me good. Black women. What you want a man to do is what your image is. And I deal with this myself because when you, okay, now do this experiment for me.
Mm-hmm.
Close your eyes.
Okay.
I'm going to say a word, and then I want you to describe to me in detail the image that comes to your mind.
Okay.
Nerd.
Nerd. A smart guy with glasses and nerdy guy, button up shirt, suspenders. I don't know.
What's his physical appearance, attractiveness, his physique, a little more details.
Okay.
So a poorly dressed guy with bad vision is what comes to mind.
Yeah, that's kind of like bent over,
Poor
maybe.
posture. Poor posture. Okay.
Right. Poor posture.
Is he fat, skinny? Is he what
He's
is he
skinny.
shaped like?
He's skinny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Steve Urkel.
Steve, exactly. See, that's my thing. So Steve Urkel, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a nerd, and I have to live with when people they have a subconscious image of what a nerd looks like, and it just so happens to be Steve Urkel. Now, Steve Urkel and Stefan is the same person, so it's not really anything wrong with his.
I saw you. You're Stefan.
Thank you. But they're the same person. They just dress different. But yeah, I get what you're saying. Thank you. Yeah. But the point is the image, the nerd image of Steve Urkel exists. That is the thing that exists. The first thing that comes to a person's mind, so it is a negative image. Black women, when men close their eyes and somebody says, black woman, somebody said a computer science major or a computer science graduate, when somebody says black woman and you have your eyes closed, the image of something combative comes to mind.
Can I give you the image?
Go for it.
Did I see? Okay, black woman. A bonnet, pajamas, or no hair, ugly, fat. This is what people will see
Hmm.
when they think of a black woman, which is messed up. Just
It's
like the
sad.
nerd is messed up.
Yeah, exactly. So I listen. I since I don't have to live in a world where people tend to see me before. I mean, except on here, because actually, when I first started YouTube, before I started like meeting a few people, they were under the impression that I looked exactly as you described, right down to the glasses, and they even thought that I was short and short glasses. What else was it? They were under
Light
the impression
skin.
that yeah, they were under the impression I was light skinned as well. But because I'm a nerd and I'm open about being a nerd, and they don't see me, that is the image that comes to their mind. The same image that came to your mind. So
Exactly. But
yeah,
ladies, he don't look like that.
yeah, I don't look like that. I may dress like that, but that's
Yeah.
just how I dress. Yeah, but women, black women, as long as y'all keep allowing crap like this, as long as y'all keep letting white women, and others make crap like this is going to be your image. Look at this. This is your image. Walking around,
Mhm.
machete in hand, stupid hats, back fat. That's your image.
Yeah.
Mean
Look at
mugging.
her arms. Big fat arms.
Yeah, that's your image. So you say you want a soft girl era, you have to attack those who attack your image. You have to say, You see, this is what it's called. The word of the day, ladies, is deformation.
Hmm.
Is deformation. See, they have anti-deformation leagues, right? All right, true story. I was dating a chick, right? And actually, I didn't even date her. I didn't even date her. I wish I did. She was a single mother. But I met her and I got her number. And when I was supposed to meet her the first time, I was with my boys and I rescheduled. And then the second time, she got pissed because of the following story. When so I was over a friend's house, right? More of a neighbor, white dude, and she was saying, "What you doing?" I was like, "I'm over my partner's house, kicking it, and she was like, "Oh, the same ones that you stood me up for." I was like, "Well, it's not really a stand up. Besides, this is my neighbor. This is my friend, he's a white dude." See, here's the thing. He was the white dude that was new to California. He came from an out of state place. He came from Denver, and he never really been around black people. And I enjoyed his company because black people's stuff was new to him. So it's funny just watching black stuff through white people eyes for the first time. Um, for example, the movie Baby Boy and Rosewood. See a white boy watch stuff like that for the first time, and it's interesting, right? So I kicked it with him. I was doing that, right? And something came up, and I was like, "Well, he's German, right? Because he was German. At least his parents were." And she's called him out of nowhere a Nazi. I was like, "That's a odd thing to say."
Wait, I'm sorry, I missed it. Who called him a Nazi?
The chick I was on the phone with, the single
Okay.
mother, she called him a Nazi.
Hmm.
I was like, why did she call him a Nazi? Just because he's German or because his family is German? So he responded with, fuck you, bitch. And yeah, I laughed too because because I was like, why you call this dude a Nazi? What kind of shit is that? Like,
Racist as hell.
you said just because, there was a war that happened generations before he was born, and they've been cool ever since. He's a Nazi? That was just some ill shit if I ever heard it, right? So he was just like, fuck you, bitch.
That was a great comeback.
And I started cracking up a little bit too. And she said, what did he say? I was like, he said, fuck you, bitch. And she got mad and hung up. And because she was on some, I should have protected her from this white dude. I was like, first of all, I've always been like a bros before hoes type dude.
Mm-hmm.
But even outside of that, I'm fair. I do like to consider myself to be fair. And yeah, you got titties and he don't. So, that is fair. That is unfair, because you can do more for me than he can, at least in one way. So, yeah, but that's not going to sway. That's not going to sway. I am going to give a balanced judgment. And if you call my boy a Nazi and he call you a bitch, that's fair game. You bought the shit on yourself.
I agree.
The point of the story, though, is that people don't like their image being besmirched. That whole, when you close your eyes and you think of somebody, you say something and a picture comes to their mind, people are very conscious of what picture comes to their mind when you do that. Chaotic Truth is here. He's an alpha, right? So he's a member of the First Black Fraternity. And he would like for when people close their eyes and somebody says alpha, a positive image comes into their head. Just like my friend at the time, when you close your eyes and you say German, you don't want Hitler coming into people's brain. That is something that's offensive, and that's an image that you want to protect at all costs. Now, unfortunately, because Black women don't protect their image, y'all let crap like this happen. Y'all create the image for yourself. Y'all don't check nobody. Y'all try to check everything else. But when white people make images like this, look at y'all. Look at y'all.
That's a shame.
Look at y'all. This been out for 3 years. Y'all didn't say shit. Y'all didn't say shit. There was no collective effort to say, I disapprove of this message. But let Michael B. Jordan kiss a white woman and see how vocal y'all get. But y'all let this slide. This is why when we close our eyes and somebody say Black woman, something like this comes up. Like a modern American version of a bitch with some type of head wrap and wearing a damn sheet comes up with no damn shoes.
Yeah, Aunt Jemima comes to people's head too.
Exactly, Aunt Jemima.
The old one that was fat, the one you said that was fatter.
Yeah, the original Aunt Jemima was fat. They don't even put y'all on syrup anymore. No, I was looking for Aunt Jemima and I seen Pearl Milling some crap like that.
Oh God. Yeah. Pearl Milling Company.
Yeah. That is basically the Pearl Milling Company's way of saying, listen, nobody want to see your ass anymore.
Mm-mm. And like you said, you had a bunch of friends. You guys wanted to go to a party. I guess your Black friend said that there were going to be Black women there. And everybody said nope, because they closed their eyes and they pictured that.
No. This wasn't my Black friend. But it was okay. It was my Black friend that asked that. So here's what happened. He said, it was an Indian guy, and white dudes were there. He said, hey, GC, any type of woman you could think about, they have at this particular spot in San Francisco. He was like, they got Indian chicks, they got yellow fever, they got the white girls, they got those Latin chicks, they got any type of woman you want. They got black girls. Oh, I don't know. I don't know if they even have any of those. They either think of you in some shit like this or not at all.
Yeah. Nobody want to go to a party full of black women.
Not ones that look like this.
Mm-mm.
And that is because the image that come into our mind is this. Y'all have to change that. It is, only you can change this image. And don't ask us to do it. Because if we try to do it, y'all going to continue to allow stuff like that. Y'all going to continue to watch movies like, y'all going to continue to give money to movies like The Woman King. Y'all going to continue to cheer, at The Woman King when they do some overtly masculine crap. Y'all are going to do that. We're not going to try to fix something that you seem hell-bent on destroying. And that is your image. What is your image? When people close their eyes and somebody says black woman, whatever they picture, that is your base image. Protect it with your life. Protect it with your life, because there are forces out there that want this to be your base image. That's what they want. They want some crap like this to be your base image. Look at this nigga. Hold up. Because I know I'm not the only one. Press 1 in the chat if you want to slap the shit out of him.
I do, just by looking at him.
Yeah, it's something about his face, right? And I'm not talking about his character here as a slaver or whatever he is. I'm talking about
his face.
The actor that played. Yeah, exactly. Don't he just have like a slap the hell out of me face?
Yeah, I see it. I do.
Okay. Yeah.
It's really
So I'm not tripping. He has like a Scrooge McDuck human just slap the fuck out of me. Look about him.
Yeah. Uneducated Lane said 11111.
Yeah.
Jamil said he has a nose bra. I can't.
Yeah, it's something about this dude. Like I picture him like smelling wine and sniffing it and saying, and twirling it in the glass, and then like while he's doing that, just me smacking the shit out of him. That's how I picture a good Wednesday.
Yeah. He looked like he sniffs, he snorts other things. Right?
Yeah. This is
look at her arms, GC. Ugh.
Exactly. Her arms is a regular woman's legs.
Yes.
Y'all not protecting your image. Y'all allow stuff like this to happen. Y'all be clicking the thumb up button, click the like button. Y'all be clicking the thumb up button when stuff like this happen. This is y'all. This happens on y'all watch. I'm not gonna try to clean this up while y'all continue to mess it up with some crap like this. This is some garbage. This is garbage.
Yeah.
And y'all say we don't protect our image. Listen, when do you see me supporting some crap? When do you see me supporting some crap that put black men in a crappy light?
You don't.
Like if they just made a movie that effeminizes black men, when do you see me support? Look at this. Slap him. look at the look on her face.
She looked mad.
Look at how fat the chick on her knees is. What is y'all? This is okay with you. Look at that. Growling at people.
That's disgusting.
And she's smiling. She's smiling because the other chick was licking blood and growling it. Y'all out your damn mind. All right. Any last words?
No. Well, thanks for having me. Great stream. Terrible movie. Don't waste your money. Don't waste your time. The movie is straight sisterhood. But thank you, GC, for watching it. So you can let everybody know how bad the movie was.
Yeah. I watch it so they don't have to. Yeah.
Right.
So
Definitely.
with that, I want to thank the Cash Apps and Super Chats, managers and moderators, those who are listening silently, and those who participate in the chat. Make sure you hit that like button on your way out. And this is GameChanger 00100. Game over. Peace.
Peace.